Hello, my friends. I got to thinking I wanted to do some more outside because I know as it gets closer to winter, it's going to be harder and harder to get more outside because I'd rather be outside than inside anyway. But I got thinking about a lot of the people that may be watching these videos and like-minded videos, and thought about those who have had a dream of doing this kind of lifestyle, but haven't been able to do it the way they would like to do it, and so on and so forth. First and foremost, I want to encourage you not to give up on your dream. You know, me, I've had a little 2.5 acre little farm. Well, not farm, but kind of farm. Uh, for several years, and even years before that, I had me a steer and a couple goats, and little things like that through the years. Like I said, I've raised on a dairy farm, so it's just in my blood. But it's not until now, and I'm going on 50 years old, and it's not until now that we finally got the property that I've always wanted, my dream property, and I'm finally been going to be able to expand on my livestock and things that I want to have uh, for my little farm. And God's been in it, and it's been a lot of ups and downs and hard times and wondering if I'm getting too old and all these type of things, but I haven't gave up on it. It's just burned in me and burned in me. I've wept and wept and wept at times over it. And when something burns in you like that so badly, it's it's bound to be something that God has planted in you to some degree or another. So don't give up on it. But with that, I want to share a few things from with this video, just some smaller things that maybe you can think to do or try to see if there's ways you might be able to incorporate some things. Somebody came in the hay shed with me. This is the hay shed, and he's sitting here eating on a bale of hay, which he don't need to be because the grass is going to be gone for too long, and he needs to be out there eating it. But long story short, sorry. I wanted to show you. I had done a little clip video when I made this feed holder thing that I'm going to show you here. Just because I knew at some point I'd probably want to do some type of video about it. But I really like it, and the big part of it here, as you'll see in the little clip that'll be added with this video, is just a toolbox that came off of back of a truck, one that my husband had found it off of some vehicles and different things. And I just made me a little stand. I mean, it's these things I'm showing you are things that I have done, not just, having to hire somebody to get it done and such and such. It's stuff that I have done that you can do. It's simple things that's not as hard as maybe some people may think they are. Some people things come more natural to than others, but don't think that you can't do it just because I did it. And, like I said, I'm going on 50 years old, and I do these things. This is my roint billy goat, Mr. Charlie. Charlie! He's my little buck. Yeah, he's my buck. I'm my buck. And him Stinky. He wants to get Mommy Stinky, but he ain't. But then I put my feed in it, as you'll see in the little clip. But before that, I use these things here because, mice and stuff like that are bad to get into your feed and such. And I had even used plastic tubs before this. I don't suggest plastic tubs because the mice figured out how to drill a hole through the plastic tubs and got into them and was eating them. So I went to our local hardware store and bought these, and been using those. That one there's got chicken feed in it, and I had another one here on the ground, as you can see, that has some feed in it, which I still got some alfalfa pellets in that just to add to their sweet feed that I add to that. And I even got baby Jesus in here and the wise man. But that's one thing that, on a smaller scale you can do, and just a little wisdom on the fact that there is but rodents can get in and things, so keep that in mind when you start looking for storage. I was giving a bunch of these, excuse me, I was given a bunch of these milk crates at one time, and I've used those as nesting boxes for my chickens. I showed you my goat stand that I had built. It's kind of a mess at the moment because they've been sleeping over here. I've got some rearranging I've got to do. That I just kind of eyeballed it with scrap lumber. Keep all your scrap lumber, guys, because a lot of it can be very useful. These pallets, I think you may have seen in the other video that I've made these runners down here to keep those in between there, which right now it's all needs clean, so forgive the mess. Today's the day I clean. And you know, I took scrap wood, put two by fours there to run this up and down, put a pulley right here with a good little nylon string on it, so that I can stand over there actually instead of having to come all the way back here to shut the doors at night to keep the coyotes out. It's a very super simple little thing you can do that don't have to have all these electronic things to operate. Something else I did with my pallets that I thought was very cool, that's been very helpful, is on the back side of this pallet, if you can see, I have run little 1x2 strips down through there, across the back of that pallet, and I've stuck hay down in there. That's been a great little place to give them some extra hay in the winter, especially whenever it's kidding time, and I've got one over here. It's a good place to, and what falls down, I use it as bedding. And something, see if I can find one of them. I think there's one in here. Nope, there's not. Sorry, I had to get this thing out of the lofty part of the chicken coop to show you. But this came out of an old freezer. It's just one of them racks that comes out of the freezer. And I used to have them mounted up here. Right there's still a nail that I've linked back. But I've had them mounted up here and put hay in them. And those were convenient feeders at the time, back whenever I first started doing this. And I keep those things because you never know when you need to make a quick little place for somebody, and that's something you can use as your hay feeder. They're not the most, well, they're practical, but at the same time, they still waste hay in them. So that's been probably, and I'd say every goat person out there, one of their biggest challenges is trying to figure out how to feed them without them wasting so much, because goats are bad to waste hay. I've got several tips for that. Part of what I use is bedding, naturally, not just for them, but for my hen boxes and such. And after it goes through the cycle of all of that, then I put it in my compost pile, because by then the chickens just went through there and ate all the seeds out of it. And then they even get in my compost pile, which is in the coop, actually, to the coop yard. And therefore they dig around in that, they cultivate it, they eat the seeds, and it just makes they love digging around in it. It makes all good for everybody. So I like to try to come up with multiple purposes for things if I can at all. It don't always work that way, but that's what I try to do. Then last but not least, my hay feeder. I could probably come up with the dimensions on this for you if anybody wants it, because it fits a square bale of hay very well. But I built this as well, all by myself. Once again, ladies, that you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. But it, like I said, it fits a square bale of hay just perfect. I have found that it don't waste as bad. If you can see on the ground here, the waste isn't nowhere near as bad. That's been in there for a couple weeks, which, keep in mind that it is still fall and they still are getting out through the day to eat. But there's rainy days that they've had to stay in and eat all through the rain. But considering waste-wise, this has been the best thing I've come up with so far. And it's not an original, so it ain't my idea, but it's all from all the different ideas out there. This has been the best thing I've come up with so far when it comes to that. I definitely need me a lean shed, though, built on my little building if we're going to have to keep incorporating, which I'll probably keep my does when they start kidding in here even after I get my goat barn built and stuff. Hello, visitor. Sorry, my cat jumped up on me. But all in all, those are just a few things, and I'll try to keep coming up with different things to help encourage people to know that you can do things. Just keep your eye out for stuff. I constantly come across things that I think's cool, and I think there's got to be a purpose for that. And I'll get it. I'm not a hoarder, like I think I've said before, by no means. But there's some things that's just super practical things to grab. And those baskets from those freezers, that's one of them. Little pieces of lumber that you don't know if you'll ever use, that's another. It's great things that you will find a purpose for. If you're trying to homestead or farm or any of those things in between, or you want to live a more frugal life without leaving as bad of a footprint in the world,